What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Patio. Today on the channel we're looking at the Komodo Kamado. Now recently I've done a review on the Yoder and the Lynx. Gonna do the same thing on the Komodo Kamado. I actually bought all these within about 6 or 7 months of each other, and I had some other grills, sold them, and slowly replaced them one by one. So I've had this guy for about 14 or 15 months at this time, so I figure it's time to do a review on it. Now, we're not going to do a traditional review, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about 5 different areas, 5 things I like about it, 5 concerns or thoughts about a Kamado style grill and the Komodo Kamado brand in general, 5 maintenance tips, some accessories you should have for it, and some suggestions for Komodo Kamado in general. Let's start with the first one. First one's easy. This thing's beautiful. This is one of those things where the camera, the pictures online, the pictures on Instagram are not going to do it justice. It truly is a work of art. It's unfortunate that it's so cloudy out today because you're really not seeing the full impact of it. But these are all handmade in Indonesia. A gentleman by the name of Dennis. He's an American that moved to Indonesia about 20 years ago, started this company, and these are handmade there. They spend about 2 months on the boat. They ship into California, and then he ships them worldwide from there. But it's one of those things where until you get that crate in your driveway and you crack it open for the first time and look at it, you just truly don't understand how beautiful it is. They come in many different colors. This one is the square style. They have a pebble style where they're different round type tiles. And again, they're all handmade, they're all put in together, so almost no two really look alike. Second thing I really like about it is just the overall build quality. I mean, this guy in general weighs about 940 pounds. It is a heavy grill. It took 4 of us to wheel it up, 3 steps, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's got great wheels. It's easy to get around, so you can actually move this guy no problem. Right, we're on wheels. I'll move it around depending on what I'm cooking. But when you look at this, this is I don't know, 13 or 14 mil stainless steel. It's got 3 racks, so this is your extension rack, and it comes with all this. We've got 1 rack here, and then we've got another rack. So you've got 3 different areas of cooking. In addition, you also have this half rack here, and this just goes on the side. So on the 32-inch version, you can get true hot and cold cooking. Have your fire over here and just cook over here for a cold zone and then sear at the end. To give you an idea, there's about 125 pounds of stainless steel in this guy. So there's a lot of quality that went into this, but he takes it a step further. This is an accessory kit that comes with this guy. Not going to open it all up, but it's got glue for the tiles. I actually, right one on the edge, I moved one of the grates in too quick, and I hit it on the edge. I hit it actually pretty hard, so it popped the tile off, but they provide some glue. You stick it right back on, you regrout it. Super simple to do. It's got a new gasket. We've got knobs, right? There's little knobs on your vents down here. Extra set of knobs. On either side, we've got little thermometer probe holes. I mean, he gives you 6 extra ones, so you can lose 6 of them. There's some grout, which you can see I used a little bit of. There's Allen keys in here. There's a spare side plate hanger, so you can hang, these go underneath, you can hang your tools on it. And again, like I mentioned, the tiles are very unique, so he includes 9 tiles in case one ever gets cracked. I'm sorry, 12. Learn your math. 12 tiles. So if you ever crack one or lose one, you can replace it. And just going that extra mile really speaks volumes about Dennis's integrity. He's trying to put out a quality product, and on top of that, he's got some great support. The third thing I really like about this thing is just the flexibility. All right, you can do everything from cold smoking in this all the way up to hot and fast pizzas. You want to do a 900-degree pizza, you can do that, but you've got full range. You know, we're talking cold smoking, smoking, grilling, pizza, baking. I mean, there is nothing that you can't do on this. If you can do it in an oven, you can do it on here, and then you can grill the heck out of some food. Now, if I'm being honest, if I could only have one grill, this would be the one I would have. It brings me in the fourth thing. The food on this thing is absolutely delicious. I mean, you can't beat it. One of the things when it comes to food, and you know, you look at a gas grill or something with a fan in it, when that air is moving across your food, it's actually pulling out a little bit of moisture. This guy, the vents are open so small that what happens is the food is extremely moist. Right? There's just no moving air. To give you an idea how it works real quick, you've got some vents on the bottom. When you start it, you can pull out the whole thing. But essentially what you're doing is you're adjusting your holes. And you're gonna notice that there's two different sides, right? There's the traditional one, so we can get up to half full or half open. And then you've got as much as a pinhole, and then, you know, maybe an inch hole there. And then when you really need to get it hot, you just pull it out. It's also, if you're a barbecue guru kind of guy, it's got a built-in plug for that. But this thing is ridiculously efficient. It's got 3 different types of material in here to retain heat. And what happens is this thing will actually burn 16 pounds of lump charcoal will burn for about 85 hours in this thing. It really is efficient. Once it gets heat soaked, because it's got so much mass to it, there's almost no moving air in this. So the food quality is difficult to describe. Super moist and juicy all the time. I mean, when you smoke things and you do it right, it's always juicy. This thing just takes it up to another level. It really is that good. The fifth thing I like about this is really just some of the engineering and thought that went behind this, right? So I showed you that it's got the built-in Barbecue Guru round plug. The new Firewire has an adapter that'll work with it. It's got this built into it here. This is for the cold smoking product that we're going to talk about in a little bit. It's got, you know, thermometer plug grommets here, so you can keep it closed and still not, still look after your temperatures and not worry about crimping that wire. It's got an accessory down here that we'll talk about that allows you to really maximize the efficiency of it on how much lump you're going to use. And because it's so efficient, you can really get away with using a very little bit amount. It's got a side part out here that comes out to clean it. You can clean it in here. It's got a spring. We've got a bunch of accessories. Overall, it's just very well thought out. So let's get into the 5 things that people generally worry about a Kamado grill or the Komodo Kamado in general. I would say probably the first one for this brand specifically is just the overall weight, right? So they make a 16, they make a 21, a 23. This guy's the 32, and they also make a 42. So as I mentioned, this guy weighs about 940 pounds. The 42 weighs about 1,500 pounds. It's massive. But the thing about it is that when you get this thing shipped to you, it comes in a crate. You take the door off, you untie it. The legs are tied down so it can't go anywhere. And then you roll it down a ramp and roll it down your driveway, and away you go. It actually rolls remarkably easy considering the weight of it. I can push this around my paver patio, no problem. One person, it doesn't even require that much effort. And the big thing is that if you've got to go up, like I had to come up 3 steps, so we built a ramp to get it up here, and we had 4 guys. We might have been able to do it with 2 if we took a little bit of a run at it, but given the weight, you just want to be able to have a couple on each side. So the weight really isn't that much of an issue. I guess if even if you have to go like across grass, there's guys online, you see them, they're just getting 4x8 sheets of wood and then rolling across one and, you know, daisy chaining those sheets of wood across and going right across the grass. It's really not that bad. So I wouldn't let that impact your decision whatsoever. The second kind of concern just about a Kamado grill in general is just the learning curve. A lot of people are a little bit intimidated by it because it is a different style cooking, but remember, this is just like a green egg, the Kamado Joe. There's a ton of channels out there that are doing content on that, on those two products themselves. There is some people that are doing a little bit of content on that. We're going to do some more on it as the channel kind of grows. One of the reasons why I haven't used this as much is really just because when you're starting to grow a channel, I was given the advice to focus on you know, a niche. You really don't want to start jumping around because then YouTube doesn't know what you're doing and it makes it difficult to kind of grow the channel. But you know, I am trying to get some videos in this. It's Thanksgiving this week. My turkey's going on this guy. There isn't a doubt about it. Just as a general concept, you can apply something from a big green egg video, a Kamado Joe video. The temperatures and the way they work is very similar, and all there is you just control the amount of air that goes in the bottom. And this guy here opens up and you control the amount of air coming out the back of it. So the more air, the hotter it gets. It's super simple, so you don't really have to worry about that too much. One of the things that people worry about the Komodo Kamado brand is some of the you know, the maintenance and really the burn-in process. So if you look at this guy, this is all grouted. It's a special grout, and this unit actually expands. And what happens is when you get this for the first time, you've got to go through a burning process. It takes you most of a day. You start it off slow and you slowly creep it up. You hold it at different temperatures for different periods of time. And what's happening there is the adhesive behind the tiles, it's still got some moisture in there. So as this thing gets hot, it's starting to boil out some of that moisture, and what will happen is the grout will crack and all the air will come out. And all you do is once you're done, you push all your tiles back in, and then you put some of this grout on here, you let it cool overnight, and you take just a normal sponge with some water and you just rub it in, and you can't even see the repair. But it is a little bit intimidating when people read about it, because they're like, oh, you know what, you don't know what to expect. People are scared of the unexpected, but I can tell you, having been through it, it's really not that big a deal. From time to time, if it's cold outside and you crank this guy up too fast, you will see that it'll expand and it will crack this a little bit. I did that by mistake, actually, for my pizza video. I was in a hurry and I got it up to like 650, 700 degrees way too quickly. I mean, because it's the way it's designed and being so efficient, you open those vents, once the temperatures start cranking, it goes up pretty fast. So all I had to do is take some grout, you take your finger, you come down and fill it all in. Next day you come out with a sponge and water, and you take it off, and like you can't even tell that happened. So not really that big a deal. The fourth thing is really just the overall cost. All right, when you get into a Kamado style grill, they are more on the expensive side. The Komodo Kamado is definitely even higher. This is a luxury Kamado grill. They're handmade. You see the quality of the grills, the stainless steel everywhere. To put that together is just not cheap. The upside to it is that this is a long-term investment. Right? You use this for 20 or 30 years and you give it to your kids. There's no burners to rot out. There's no moving parts to break. Outside of the spring, which you can always get another spring for it. But the spring is massive. So you're not going to have any issues there. This is just one of those things, as long as you take care of it, it's going to last you a long time, and you're going to enjoy amazing tasting food and versatility for 20 plus years. So, save up, and it's no different than these grills here. There are cheaper options out there, and in each of those videos, I really said you get what you pay for. This is no different. And the final thing that people are generally concerned about a Kamado grill is just the maintenance that comes with them, right? You burn charcoal in them, you've got to take them apart and clean them. In this particular model, there's nothing to take out. There isn't a basket or anything. Once that basket goes in, you never remove it again. And all you do is you take this door out. You can see that there's some ash in here. You take a shop vacuum and you vacuum it out. You take a wire brush or whatever you want to use, and clean your grates, and that's it. There really isn't that much maintenance to it. You will get some soot built up around here, but we'll talk about that in some maintenance tips, but it comes off really easily just because these tiles are very slippery and not much can stick to them. All right, so let's talk maintenance. A couple things you're gonna need. This guy burns lump charcoal, so it's gonna produce ash that comes out the bottom. You just open your door, you can see some there. You take a shop vac with a wand on it, and you just go in and vacuum that out. There's also a door on the side here. Gonna take you about a minute. Very easy to do. There's nothing to remove on the inside. Just vacuum it from the bottom and you're done with it. Another thing you're gonna want is that 505 degreaser. I'll put a link in the description below, but I've talked about this a lot on the channel. It's a phenomenal degreaser. I actually bought it for this guy originally, because what happens is you get some black soot up here and on the top, and just wanted to keep it looking clean. Spray that on for 30 seconds and wipe it off, and it does a phenomenal job. It's the best degreaser I've found. Next thing you're gonna want is some microfiber rags. I get these from the ragcompany.com. I get them for my car. They come in all different kinds of colors and different thicknesses and whatnot. But find one that works for you. These are just great because they're gray, and yeah, you're gonna see some grease, but it just doesn't look as bad as if they were yellow. You're gonna want some wax. So this thing shines up very, very nice, and if you keep it, put a coat of wax on once or twice a year, it cleans that much easier. This is a product called Ammo. If you go to ammonyc.com, Larry, he's a car fanatic, started as a detail business, but he's grown it into his own products. Very well respected in the car community. I mean, this guy's doing, multi-million-dollar cars and detailing them, but his product line is great. If you're into cars at all, I highly recommend you try them out. They've got a bunch of different products. This is just their spit shine. It's just a spray on wax, but it's good to do that every once in a while to it. And the last thing you want here is PBW. Now this stuff is expensive, but you don't have to use it very often. It's an environmentally friendly cleaner that's a powder, and what you do is you throw it into a bucket or some type of container, and you put your stainless steel grates in there, come back in 24 hours and they're clean. You just got to rinse them off. When you're doing a rotisserie or something like that, it's a great thing to have, because sometimes you forget to spray your rotisserie, you don't spray it enough, and it's just a pain to clean. If you get one that's a mess, put some of that in there, throw it in a bucket, come back the next morning, and it's perfectly clean. So definitely recommend you checking that out. I'll put a link in the description for that below. The last thing you want is a cover. Here's what their cover looks like. It's a heavy material. It also comes with tie downs if it gets really windy. We've had some crazy winds. This is blown off maybe once. It doesn't happen very often, but it is nice and thick. The big thing to remember there's a version that if you have the side tables, you get the larger one. If you don't have the side tables, you get the smaller one. If you're ever thinking about getting the side tables, just get the bigger one from the get-go. That'll just save you some hassle. But keep it covered and keep it looking great, and it'll last you a long time. So let's talk accessories. This one is a difficult one to narrow down. I couldn't actually do 5. So let's start with the one that we most recently talked about, and that's just the side tables. They are an accessory. You can get them in teak, or you can get them with the stainless steel inserts like I have here. Highly recommended. You can just buy one side. So if you just want one, you can totally do that. I have both, but it just put your food down there. Just nice to have. Second one would be rotisserie. So this guy has a rotisserie that goes inside. The middle one's a double fork, and then we've got 2 single forks. So you can do one or 2 chickens on here. And the 32, I can do 2 chickens, no problem. There is a motor for it, just goes on the side of it, and you've got 2 different size motors. You can do one, I think it's under 50 pounds, and one that does over 50 pounds. So depending on what kind of meat you're gonna do, you pick your motor. On this guy, instead of the tines, you can also get a basket, and it's got a full basket and then a basket reducer. So on a 42, I mean, you could do a whole suckling pig, no problem, right? So you're gonna need the bigger motor for that. This guy, I'm not really gonna do any meat that big, so I just went with a small motor, but you've got some options there. We talked a little bit about it earlier. We've got a port here, and this cold smoker goes right in there, sits like that. You gotta just do the screws up, and then what happens is you hook it up to an aquarium pump, which it comes with, and you adjust your air. And the way this guy works is we put pellets or little wood chips, right? You take a torch, you light it up in here, and then you adjust your airflow. And the goal there is you're just gonna get your wood or your pellets to smolder, right? We're gonna get that super clean. You hear people talk about blue smoke. That's the cleanest smoke you're gonna get. So whether you wanna do cold smoke and you wanna cold smoke some bacon, or I use it a lot when I do hot smoking. If I just wanna get I wanna maximize my smoke quality, I'll throw whatever woods I want in there and just put it in that, and we'll fill up the chamber with the cleanest smoke possible. It really does add to the flavor. That's not, I wouldn't say that's an actual must-have, but I would highly recommend it. The fourth one is our pizza stone, right? So it comes with all the grates that I showed you earlier on, but here's your pizza stone. That guy weighs 40 pounds. It's got a lot of mass to it. One of the things that you run into when you get into some high temp pizza cooking is sometimes the crust on the bottom will burn. Because this is so thick, you don't have that problem whatsoever. And the way it's designed is it's right up in the dome, so it's getting some of the hottest heat possible. And because it's a curved dome, all the heat's rolling down and cooking your cheese on top. So this is it's a must-have. You can do calzones, strombolis, pizza, breads, whatever you want on it. The last one, I'm going to try and show you a picture from when this was brand new. I have a picture, and I think I'll be able to put it into the video. But what it is that in here there's a plate that goes across, and it's called the basket reducer. And what it does is you put stainless steel pieces in, and you can have, you put your lump charcoal in here. You can have a quarter basket, a half basket, a 3/4 basket, or you can take it out the plate and fill up the whole thing with lump if you're doing some pizza or something like that. Now the advantage to this is that if I'm smoking pork or something all day, I'll put in the 3 pieces, so I've got 1/4 of the basket open, and I'll fill it up with lump. And once this gets up to 250, it'll run on a quarter basket all day long, no problem. So you don't have to spend as much money on lump. When I'm gonna do something like, let's say I'm gonna do like a real thick tomahawk steak, I'm gonna do a reverse sear, I'm gonna cook some potatoes, and it's gonna be on for a little while, I'll usually go up to the half basket. So that way I've got a true cold zone. There's stainless steel plates there, so there's no hot air hitting my food whatsoever. I'll do a reverse sear on this side, and then I'll dial it up and I'll sear the heck out of the steaks on the right hand side. And usually you'll need a half basket for that. If I use a quarter basket, I just run it as steam, and I can't quite get that as hot as I would like. But that's a must-have accessory if you're going to get a 32 or the 42. I wouldn't even think twice about that one. The last thing is not an accessory, but what's going to happen here is when you order this, it's going to come in a crate, and then they're going to ship another pallet with the accessories that you order. So that's one time when you can kind of take advantage of some of the shipping. And there's a couple things you can get from them. This one here, this is coffee wood. Right, they make a coffee wood that you can use to smoke with. It comes in 3 different sizes. There's the small size, and then there's the larger chunk size. The small size is great in your cold smoker. Coffee wood is actually amazing if you smoke it. The first time I ever used it, I was a little bit weird about it, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to give it a try. So I did a tomahawk with my wife, and I actually used coffee charcoal that we're going to talk about in a second, and some coffee wood. And she's like, what did you do to this thing? It's amazing. Like, I haven't had this taste before, and it was the coffee wood. So highly recommend that. The other thing that they have is cocoa char. So this is charcoal. Looks a little different, right? But this is lump charcoal. So the one thing with lump charcoal is, depending on what brand you buy, there's some great brands out there, but they all have their own little unique flavor profile depending on what kind of wood they use and how it was made. The concept behind cocoa char is that it has no flavor profile whatsoever. It's completely neutral. It burns really, really well for low and slow smoking, and this allows you to have a neutral flavor coming in for your heat source, and then to really hone in on your woods that you're using just to get a true mesquite. The charcoal it burns really, really well and lasts a long time. I really like it. So because you're going to get a pallet for your accessories, you might as well get some charcoal at the same time. The last one is the coffee. This one is normal shapes. Let's see if I can get some shapes here for you. Various size chunks, but this is lump charcoal that's made from coffee. Now the thing with charcoal, or for the Komodo Kamado charcoal, is it's got to be on the water for 2 months, just like everything else, right? So it comes in large batches, it sells out, he makes some more, and then he ships some more. So it's not in stock all the time. So you want to ask Dennis when you go to order one if they have charcoal, because you definitely want to get some. Like, you can get a pallet anyhow at any time you want, or half a pallet, or even individual boxes, but you just get a chance to save a little bit of money because there's already a pallet coming and they can load it up. And trust me when I tell you, once you try this stuff, you're definitely going to want it. I literally have hundreds of pounds of this in my garage. I've got it up on shelves because it's not in all the time. So when it was in, I just stocked up, and I love it. So not an accessory, but something that I think that you should definitely consider if you're looking at one of these guys. All right, let's talk about some tips for Komodo Kamado. So I try and put some thought into these, try and make them as helpful as possible. This one I really struggled with. This thing is built great. I mean, there's not a lot to complain about it, but there's a couple little things. The first one, and this is just me hyper anal, but this is a True-Tel thermometer. It's branded Komodo Kamado, but it actually turns, right? When you get the grill, it comes out separately, you put it in, it's got a little clamp on the back of it. But if you're anal like me, when you clean this thing, sometimes you take it on and off your cover, it will tilt the thermometer, and it just annoys me that I've always got to write this up because I can't tolerate it when it's not straight up and down. And it's just a little bit OCD or whatever, but I wish that was kind of fastened a little bit differently so it didn't rotate around. Not a big deal, not a deal breaker by any means, but I'm just being honest. The second one would be this rotisserie. So I use this as my second video. It was actually the first time I used this, and I mean, I love some rotisserie chicken, especially on a Kamado style grill. But the way this thing works is you've got an end here that spins out to kind of lengthen the rod. And what happens here is there's a spring in this end, so you put this into the spring, you put it in, and then there's a socket that this hex head goes into, and then you tighten this out and make sure it's tight and in place. The issue that I have is it's just a little cumbersome because you want to get this tight so that your meat stays there tight, but you've got to get in there with a glove to loosen it off to pull it out. So when you pull it out, it's a little bit more difficult to pull it out than I would like. Not the end of the world, but the first time it's a little bit of an eye-opener when you go to pull out this hot rod and you're just like, oh, I didn't really think this through properly. As long as you got some gloves there and you don't crank this. I tightened it a little too much was my problem. And then I needed a set of pliers to loosen it off. That was just user error on that part, but I just think there might be a little bit easier way to do it. And I don't know if you could, take a chunk out of the side with like a rubber gasket and just, it's in there all the time. Then when you want to use the rotisserie, you pull it out and it gives you a channel. So you put it in there and just lock it in the channel and attach it to the motor. It might make it a little easier. The third one is really, they have a stainless steel double line drip pan. And the concept of it is that it's double lined so that your drippings won't burn. And my beef with it is that it's designed too big. It doesn't properly sit on the bottom rack here. It's designed, if you take out the bottom rack and you put it right over your lump, it fits in there no problem. But if you want to sit on the second rack, it doesn't fit in there very well. And I just think it's too big. I mean, not too many people are going to cook a piece of meat this big and need to catch all the drippings to it. So I think that could be made a little smaller. Not the end of the world again, but that would be my third one. And honestly, that's all I've got. I can't complain about this thing, or give some things that should be changed on it, because I really do like it. It's very well built. I can't say enough good things about it. It really cooks great food. It's well designed. I know I'm going to have it for a long time. So I got nothing else to say. I don't have 5 for you. So 3 will have to do. But anyhow, thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a little bit about this particular grill. If you've got some questions about it, don't hesitate to leave some comments below. Please like the video while you're down there. Subscribe if you want to hear some more. And my email address is on the YouTube channel. If you want to shoot me an email, you just got some questions about this brand or even Komodo Joe. I mean, I had a Komodo Joe for 3 years before I got this guy. But I'm happy to kind of give you some comparisons and help you with any input that you need. Thanks as always for watching. Since it is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you soon.